Hey, brothers, we are here. These are the coaches that Steve and I work with. We're good guys to great men. We've got Jeff, top right, Garrett, bottom left, and Mark on the bottom right. We have been working with good guys to great men for at least 6 years of coaches. All of us here have been here a little bit longer. Um, and so today we wanted to do a discussion around what we would call the moody flip-flop wife, which let me give you an introduction to this. So this is if you're in a relationship and you're seeing some changes happening, you're seeing some distance coming and some coldness and maybe some bitterness and some resentment. So what this could be is you might be looking at we still hang out, and we still have fun, and we still enjoy ourselves, and sometimes we have a laugh, and then the next day everything's different. And so things are changing from day to day, and it seems like they get better, and then it seems like they go back again, and then they get better again, and they go back again. And then even when things seem really tense and cold, suddenly you have a conversation about the holiday next year that she would like to plan, or how to redecorate one of the kids' bedrooms, or some kind of investment that is a reasonably large investment that you think, well, hang on a minute, if you're not happy here and you don't want to be here in this relationship, why would we be doing that? Why would we be spending that money? We're not going to be talking in this discussion about someone where the situation is we're talking about divorce. We're talking about separation. This is before those things. So you might be having those conversations in your head, like what's going on, especially when a lot of time you're seeing a change in behavior, which is less time spent together, more time spent on the phone, more time spent going out with friends and doing other things, but yet there's still some level of fidelity to the relationship. In other words, you can still see that there's some warmth in there and that there's some companionship in there on those good days, in those good moments. And it's crazy making, it's really confusing. And we speak to a lot of guys in this situation. So, Jeff, what do you think about this? The guys that you've talked to around this.
Sure, yeah, it's great to see you guys. I had a man start with me about a month ago where she was upset every single day. She seemed unhappy with him. He couldn't do anything right. And he would help with the kids in the morning. He would help with the laundry. He'd try to tidy the house. He'd come home and try to be the best husband that he could be. And she really wanted nothing to do with him. And he thought it was all him. He thought it was all his fault. He thought he was doing something wrong or he wasn't doing enough. And the first questions he asked were about why she is unhappy. Why is she unhappy? Because if I can just figure out why she's unhappy, then I can do something better to make her happy every single day. And that's where I was in the past. I thought I could make my woman happy every single day, that my wife should be happy, this nice guy expectation. And that's actually really off base. I mean, who am I to think that I can make someone happy every day, first of all? So I had to I had to check my own self-righteousness, let's say, and really understand that my job is my own joy and inspiration and power in my own life. And she's going to feel the vibe that I have. She's going to feel that I'm trying to appease her. She's going to feel that I don't feel like I'm enough because she's not happy. And it's just this downward spiral of why, how can I fix it? I'm supposed to make her happy every day. And that's actually not true. If I could go back in time and tell myself that it's not true that she's supposed to be happy with you every day. And so there's this, why, how can I fix it? And as soon as this man, he's a software engineer out of the West, out of California, actually. As soon as this man unhooked that trailer of expectation that he could make her happy every day, and he started just saying what he wanted, whether it was a great meal together, or he wanted to go to the gym and have time for himself, or he wanted to spend bedtime reading to his kiddo. And if she was disgruntled by any of those things, that's okay. And he can talk with her about it another time, but he just wanted to be happy and joyous in his own life. And guess what? It's been about a month now, and she started coming around. She started, again, their relationship uh, is in an okay space. It's more in his mind that he's thinking things are going off the rails. So she started to come around. She started to be flirty again. She actually put on a nightie that was lacy for him without even him even asking. And he came back to me and said, "There's some magic around this me not caring what she thinks about me, Jeff." It's like, well, there's no magic. It's just you're not adding to the disappointment. You're not adding to the fake, false, not real expectation she's supposed to be happy every day. If you think she's supposed to be happy every day, she feels judged. You feel like you're failing. There's just cloud, this wet blanket over everything, and that's not really what helps. That's not what really this is about. So, unhooking the expectation that she's supposed to be happy every day, that you're supposed to fix it, which isn't true, and to turn your shoulders toward yourself, your joy, what you want to do, and see what happens with her. Bring inspiration and joy to yourself and see what happens with her over time. That's where I start with men.
Nice. Garrett.
And you know, Jeff, I wish somebody had talked to me like that before I even started dating, let alone was married. Because for 10 years, I tried a very different approach and it was miserable. So, brother, watching this video right now, I want to tip my hat to you because I know you're the kind of guy you're working hard. You try to provide the best you can. You're really putting all your effort in to create a great life, a great marriage, a great home. And maybe it feels like none of that is even appreciated, really, when all you get in return is negativity. Or maybe on Monday, she praises you for being the best husband ever and you're such a great provider. And by Wednesday, she doesn't want you to touch her. And then she's really moody by Friday. And so you give her some love notes and she gets happy again. And it only lasts a few hours. And then 2 days later, she's back down again. So this roller coaster, this flip flop between you're great, you're not great, where we're going is great, but the past sucked. Like it can be very unnerving for the man because he wants some stability in knowing that I bring great stuff and it's appreciated around here. So what Jeff's talking about is when you're doing this work, when we're coaching men, we're rewiring your brain to help you attach your sense of well-being to things that are consistent. Because within masculinity, consistency is very key and it's natural to us. Like I'm wearing this blue shirt right now. And if I'm a guy that likes blue shirts, that's my truth. You could write a book 10 years later about how Garrett was the blue shirt guy and it would be a correct book. But we have to understand in a feminine world, they're driving a little different vehicle through this life. I would compare it to a forklift. I'm a certified forklift driver. Remember the first time you got on one of those, you turned the wheels a little bit and that rear came right around? Oh, it messes with your brain. You're like, it still drives, it still turns, but this is very different. And so that's what it's like for your lady. She's going through life in a forklift. And every time she turns around, that rump is coming around and she's doing circles and she's trying to drive straight and it's capable, just not quite as easily capable as a car where you can just hit the gas and go and it's a straight line. So as she goes through life going like this, you can only ever enjoy being around that if you're attached to something very solid, something consistent, something that does not determine your well-being as it goes up and down. And so that kind of source of confidence is unique to every man. Every man has some core things that he believes in deeply, that he loves and enjoys a lot, that are fulfilling for him. And like Jeff's mentioning, if we're not creating those things, if we're not speaking those things, if we're not asking for those things, we're not going to have those things. And so it can be scary to unhook the trailer like Jeff is talking about, because suddenly if she's having a bad day and it's not your responsibility to turn that around, she might not like that at first, because maybe up till now you've insinuated that you're the guy that can do that too for her. And she has to find her grounding, her sense of what's next. So we can look at her struggle with empathy once we understand that this is what it's like for her. Because she can only ever have truth reflected to her about how she feels right now. Like, I'm the blue shirt guy forever. She's a blue shirt lady right now if she likes the blue shirt right now. And if tomorrow she doesn't have that feeling, she can't stand on that truth anymore. Imagine what life would seem like for you if every time you turned around, who you knew you were was gone and something new came in because your feelings determined your sense of well-being and clarity. So when you see that the struggle would not be easy to deal with, to drive down the highway on a forklift would be very stressful, we can start to bring an energy of understanding to what she's going through and find how that compassion and steady energy around her helps guide her back. Not because you're fixing her problems or creating more, doing more, or being better, just because you're no longer attached to this thing. And I grew up with 5 sisters, man. How they were at age 2 is how they're at 42. You picked the girl you picked that's got the things she's got. She thinks how she thinks. She loves what she loves and she hates what she hates. And it's just a constant season she's moving through on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. And you can't change that. You can only ever appreciate it. And just like you, When you're appreciated for what you provide, suddenly you just feel better. Everything's more positive. You don't get as annoyed. When she feels seen and understood in her struggle, suddenly she's like, oh, I guess this annoyance isn't so bad. It doesn't piss me off as bad. Like maybe you experienced this in the dating season with her when you really didn't get on each other's nerves that much. And if you did, you got over it quick and maybe it turned into playfulness or something. You can still bring that back to your relationship today with this new perspective.
Love that. That was awesome, especially the forklift. Mark, what you got to say?
Just to build on what Garrett was talking about, what I took from that spiel was if you're a happy man, it's much easier to actually handle these mood changes and mood swings because your happiness is your responsibility. So if you've got things to do and if you've got a mission to live and you've got things that you enjoy, it's much easier to sit in the woman's storm and not take it personally and be more amused by it versus being disheartened and distracted by it. But to do that, you've got to build your own life and you have to understand where you're headed. It's easy to get caught up in a woman's drama because it's constantly changing. And for men, constant change can be disorientating. But as Garrett was talking about, that is how a woman experiences life. So if we can anchor ourselves to something that is consistent, which is what everyone's been talking about, your journey through this flip-flopping wife is going to be much easier. For that to happen, you've got to know where your line is. We as men, as partners, don't have to tolerate everything. And as soon as we get married, we think that we just have to accept all behavior and just, that's it, that's our lot in life. But there are things that we can say, no, I'm not going to put up with that. And then we can remove ourselves from that situation. When you're clear on what you will tolerate or won't tolerate, then you get to decide, well, am I going to stay in this relationship or am I not going to stay in this relationship? It's easy to forget that you have that decision at all times. Even if you've got kids, even if you've got a family, you've always got the choice as to whether you take it or whether you don't. But in order to make that decision, you have to have your focus on what you do have control over. So that's the difference between how a man who allows himself to get caught up in the flip-flopping wife experiences it versus a man who has a mission and has his own grounded nature.
I also want to just point to, so you've all said, don't get sucked into the up and the down and find your own stability. And there are various different ways of doing that. And we're often talking about your emotional state is being created by you and how you're perceiving the situation and all the meaning you're giving to it. Sometimes I will take a situation that I'm talking to a guy about and boil it down to the bare bones, the function of what happened. So a woman said some words to a man, or maybe a woman didn't say some words to a man, or maybe she didn't look at him when he walked in the room, or maybe she did walk out the room when he walked in the room. Like that's what happened. Something happened, but the bare function of what happened. And there's nothing to be upset about that. A woman said some words to a man, or a woman didn't say some words to a man. It's what we then add to all of that. Well, that means she doesn't care about me. She's thinking about somebody else. She's thinking about divorce. She never loved me. I'm not attractive. Well, ad infinitum. There's a million different things, stories that we come up with in like 20 seconds. And that's where we live in this kind of situation. We are spending all our energy in some fabricated reality. And that is absolutely fucking up your relationship. I can guarantee it. And it's exhausting. And the stupid thing about all of that is it's not that complicated to approach it in a different way. Now, I'm not going to go into that in detail here because that's what we do with our guys in coaching. There is one other thing that I wanted to talk about here, which is that it doesn't matter whether you have the flip or the flop. There is always a path to connection, right? There's always a path to connection. If somebody is being cold, you can be warm. If somebody is being distant, you can also balance that. You can bring whatever energy you want to bring to the situation, and there is always a way to find a path through to connection. But you have to genuinely, one, not be afraid of what's happening in front of you, So have your own sense of security and confidence in that situation. And two, be willing to see, like be willing to be in the discomfort of the uncertainty of what the fuck is going to happen next, because you don't know, we don't know, nobody knows. All you can do is get clear about what you would like to happen next and then have the balls to take the next step. That's kind of it. So anything else you guys want to add to that, that there are, you can find connection with a flip or a flop, but it all depends on how you think about it and how you approach it.
Yeah, not having fear of getting close to the flame. You know, the flame gets warm as you get close, and we fear being burned, but as soon as you turn away and avoid, there's no chance to warm up any situation at all. So the
Right.
fear is the key, and how to not have fear is, like you said, is what we teach, what we talk about.
And that having that fear is within your control because she's not causing it. It's purely created in your own mind and how you're thinking about things.
So just like you're not responsible for her happiness and her being happy, and you don't have to make her happy, she doesn't have to make you happy or remove any
Yeah.
fear that you might be creating. Right.
A real common thing that a guy has to learn to undo when he's learning how to be masculine with this feminine flip and flop is to stop carrying the balance sheet of what's owed.
Mm.
Because a lot of times
Yeah.
when we're doing our providing, all the things we think that make us awesome, we then look over our shoulder and go, well, where's your end of this? And so we've created our own standard that we are suffering under. It's an invisible standard. She doesn't even know it exists. And you're walking around in a lot of pain and it's self-imposed. So the kind of man we're talking about today, he decides that if I want it, I should bring it out of the shadow and actually voice it. And also, I can actually do things with no strings attached just because I love it, because it self-validates who I am, because I like to be that guy. And then you no longer need people to approve you. You no longer need people to like you. You don't even get triggered or bothered when people criticize you because you didn't do it for them. You only did it for yourself. And that seems like a selfish concept to men that were raised to believe that anything for you is negative, bad, and you should only do for others. What we're teaching is you can't do anything for others when your gas tank is on empty. And so we're helping you understand how you put some fuel in this tank so that you even have the energy to be in the same room with a woman who's in a low mood. Because if you're not self-sourcing your power like this, you're just going to keep latching back onto her to need to make you feel a little better so that you can have the patience or the energy to even be with her.
Totally. That version of you is on the inside too. That's what we find with every man that we work with is that's there. It just needs to be brought out, just needs to be uncovered. Like the men you probably were when you first met her.
Mm. Treat every moment or every event as an event unto itself, as a complete task. Not, you don't have to keep track of it. You don't have to write it down in the diary and remember it. Like Garrett said, the balance sheet. So many men fall into that trap. I used to. Like as soon as I did a task, it would be in the bank on the spreadsheet. And then the moment she pissed me off, I'll be recalling that. Thank you very much. Where's the balance? I do this. But if you can treat everything as just a complete mission on itself, you're freed up from the past and you can just handle things as they come in the future,
What's
which
interesting
is
about
helpful with a woman.
what's interesting about what you said is, okay, you're kind of describing a flip-flop man, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, and so we're always saying she's always responding to you. And I think we don't necessarily see that we can be very flip-floppy. That we can be flip-floppy in terms of, well, she's happy. So, hey, everything's good. She's not happy. Ah, everything's not good, right? That's a massive flip-flop. We seem to be getting on well. Hey, we seem to be affectionate. Now, shut down, no intimacy, right? And now suddenly I'm going to be a different guy to the one who was with her as we were getting closer and more connected and things were good. And suddenly things changed. And so suddenly I have to change. So this is us following the flip-flop energy and joining the flip-flop energy rather than us having an energy of our own. So
Yeah,
again,
right.
this is what we do with guys all day, every day. We would love to do it with you. If this sounds familiar, if you're dealing with a relationship where some days, some weeks, things seem great, other days, other weeks, it's tense, it's nervous, it's awkward, you know, you don't know what's going on, communication is not great, and you would really like to know how to move that forward and to stop that flip-flopping happening, then go to the website, goodguystogreatmen.com, fill in the application form, send us an email. We will sit down with you. We'll arrange a time to have an hour to 90-minute call with you. And we'll just go through everything that we've been talking about today with you. And we'll get really specific to your situation so we can help you understand what is the best approach for you, what's currently holding you back, how are you partly involved in creating this dynamic that you're currently experiencing.